Two, back on with the how to do's and don'ts and all. I'm gonna show you how to save some money right here. If you see this right here, this product, this is Evans High Performance Waterless Engine Coolant. You do not add water to it. It's good for all gasoline engines, as you can see, the light duty diesel, LP, CNG engines, and all. Superior boil over protection. The reason being is that this stuff right here, as you can see, read on the front there, boils at 375 degrees, unlike just normal water. Protects down to a negative 40 degrees, we're showing. Runs lower pressures, as you see right there. Eliminates hot spots because it doesn't boil over at the lower temperatures, such as water does, which can leave hot pockets and cause problems with your engine. And if you notice right there in the center too, it says fights corrosion. There is no water, so you have no corrosion really that's going to occur in your engine or any electrolysis, process that's just eating away at it and creating more problems for you. It is more expensive initially. It comes with a prep kit you need to use to flush out all the water first and foremost before you actually add this stuff to it. It's a clear liquid. It pretty much reminds me of just like a clear syrup. It's kind of what it looks like when you're using it. It's supposed to be environmentally friendly too. They say it's technically completely safe to drink. It wouldn't harm you or pets or anything in the environment. So that's another bonus to it. But here's part of the ways you're going to save too. You're not constantly changing this stuff every 3 to 5 years like a standard antifreeze. If you keep everything, making sure that it's tightened up once in a while, your hoses, keep an eye on it and all that, you're perfectly fine. The other thing is too, you can reuse this product. Just make sure it's strained out that nothing as far as larger components, contaminants and stuff are going to get in the engine itself. Use you a good strainer for it and you can actually reuse it. Unlike, uh, the other issues you'll have with some of these other coolants, once that lifespan of them's ran out, you can't put it back in. It has to be new versus this to where you can reuse it. So yeah, the initial price, you're probably thinking like, oh my God, that's so expensive. But when you actually break it down, it's really not because you're not going to have the problems with your engine that you will with standard water. Okay. So you're looking at potentially making the inside of that engine and those components last pretty much the absolute lifetime of that motor because you don't have the corrosion problems. Water is the most corrosive substance on earth, is literally what they taught me in trade school doing heat and air conditioning refrigeration. It's also one of the best coolants, but it's so corrosive. That's the problem. And that's the reason why this product is so great. It's not going to eat away at your motor while it's being used. Not to mention, like how so many times you've seen people where they're broke down on the side of the road, seeing the steam going everywhere, and they can't hardly touch the radiator cap to open it up or anything. This product here will not boil till 375 degrees Fahrenheit. I believe that's about 150 degrees Fahrenheit higher than your standard water from where it's showing to where you don't really have to worry about that problem, to where you can still safely open your radiator and do whatever you have to do. And yes, if you were in an emergency situation, say you didn't have any of this stuff, you could add water to it and get down the road, and it's not going to just tear up your engine or whatever and all. But then you're needing to go back through those same steps and processes again to get it right. Once you get it there, to get that water out, use that prep stuff, go back completely to this. So it doesn't eliminate you from doing that in an emergency case, and it's not just going to create some catastrophic problem if you needed an emergency if something were to happen. One way around that too, you could always carry a little bit of it with you. Keep one around, the extra gallon or something like that if you wanted to. That's what I tend to do. It might not be as readily available as certain other products, but like I said, if you stay on top of your hose maintenance, make sure your clamps are good and tight, everything's good and sealed, you're not really going to have any issues with that anyways. So if you factor in the time and the money of constantly maintenance in your antifreeze, the headache of trying to remember how old is it, having a test run on it to make for sure to see if it's still even any good while it's still corroding away at your engine, unlike this product, you can see where it definitely has its high advantages. I can honestly say too, in my personal opinion, for what I've seen, it seems that the heat works better in the wintertime. I've now used this, a couple of seasons, and I definitely noticed that it seems to transfer the heat that much better to where it warms up faster in my inside compartment during the winter. So that's another huge advantage, especially if you're in a cold environment where you're trying to warm up quick. But all in all, I'd have to say it's been a great product for me. I hadn't had any problems. And like how they were saying, the other thing with helping other components last longer, like your hoses and stuff too, they're saying it runs at a slightly lower pressure. So yet again, that's another advantage there too. Not quite as bad as the water, because yet again, it can't really get to those boiling points and create that extra added pressure there that you would have like with water just being in your system. So the advantages, in my opinion, are extremely high because you're not going to have the constant maintenance problems and breakdowns as often for not having that corrosion in your motor too. I can't speak the volumes of that, how it can make, your heater core last longer, your water pump last longer, just the entirety of that engine, because you're not going to have all these mineral deposits and corrosion and stuff through the system, which starts contaminating it, slowing things down to where the fluid doesn't move as much, eating away at it and just basically slowly dissolving your motor over time. That's what water does. Like I said, given enough time, water will basically eat through anything. And all of those have some form of water, the other types. So keep that in mind. If you're truly trying to save some money and aggravation in the long run, this is definitely a great product for that. Is it going to cost you a little more upfront? Absolutely. But generally, the better products do. But ask yourself, what's more important? That upfront cost that's like, oh my God, this stings, or man, I'm going to get so much more life out of my car and have less worries by going to this product, less headaches, and less maintenance to worry about too. Think about that. Like, subscribe, feel free to comment in the bottom links down below. I'll list certain places and some tabs where you can go as far as to purchase this stuff. And like I said, most people have never heard about it, and that's what's wild. Majority of people, if you ask them in your neighborhood, your community, will be like, "What are you talking about? What is Evans engine? Excuse me, Evans engine coolant that's waterless?" Most people have no idea about it, and it's surprising to me because it's been on the market for a really long time. So consider doing it to save you some aggravation in the long run, and especially nowadays with what vehicles cost and how hard they are to find. Don't you want yours to last longer? Well, this is one of the cheapest, easiest ways to do that without breaking the bank. Yes, it does cost a decent amount, but nothing like some of these costs of rebuilding the engine and having all these other components changed and all due to failure. So think about that. It's really a fraction of the cost to make it last longer. Yet again, like I said, like, subscribe, comment down below. I'll leave you a couple links to where you can go and read up more about the product, and I'll see you on the next one.